Hello everyone! Last month I did a video sharing my favorite mood-boosting scenes from movie musicals. Something I said in that video led to some of you expressing interest in a list of favorite dance scenes. At first I thought, I don't know about that. I'd have to take some time to mull that over. But then in 2 days I had a list already, so I guess it wasn't as hard to choose as I had expected. So here you go, in no particular order. Here are some of my favorite dance scenes from movie musicals, plus a couple that aren't from musicals per se, but are from dance movies. Same criteria as last time, just live-action movies, no animation, and just movies that are part of this genre, so no dance scenes from non-musical or non-dance related films. Disclaimer, I am not a dancer at all. The only dancing I do occurs within the privacy of my own home, and it consists mostly of variations on the twist. I can also do the Macarena, and if pressed, the chicken dance, I guess, but that's the extent of it. So I make this list as a consumer, not as a connoisseur. To start with, I've got a couple crossovers from my other video that I think also belong on this list. The Girl Hunt Ballet from 1953's The Bandwagon, performed principally by Fred Astaire and Cyd Charisse. It tells the whole story through choreographed movement with just a little help from Astaire's private detective voiceover, so even when Astaire's just walking, there's rhythm to it. I mentioned before that Cyd Charisse was my favorite female hoofer, and in her dual roles she gets to demonstrate two dance types. Ballet as the blonde damsel in distress, and I love her sliding entrance here, and a more contemporary seductive style as the brunette femme fatale. Contrast the sweetness of the train station pas de deux with the almost aggressive dance at the bar, Charisse matching Astaire for power. But pay attention to the background dancers through the ballet too if you can. They're hilariously exaggerated and help pull the whole thing together. Singin' in the Rain from 1952's Singin' in the Rain, performed by Gene Kelly, should also be on this list. Tap dancing is always fun to listen to, but there's something extra pleasing about the sound here, the patter of his shoes against the wet pavement. The entire number is playful and carefree, with Kelly's signature graceful looseness and ever-present smile, but especially near the end when the brass section opens up and Kelly just goes nuts, jumping and stomping in the puddles and splashing water everywhere, and somehow doing it musically. I Like Myself from 1955's It's Always Fair Weather, performed by Gene Kelly, who also co-choreographed and co-directed with Stanley Donen. A natural follow-up to Singin' in the Rain, it's similar in mood and context, the character's in love and realizing that if his girl likes him, he must be all right. Unaware of the gathering crowd, he starts dancing on the street in roller skates. The choreography starts out pretty chill, just simple gliding around, though even that would be tough for people like me to manage. Then, when he realizes people are watching, he says, what the heck, and starts tapping. The complexity of this number is astounding. Tap dancing is one thing. Tap dancing in old-fashioned roller skates is another. These are complicated steps, plus he's got to maintain his balance, but he makes it look so easy. The skates make an appealing clacking sound, and being on wheels allows for some fun moves, like the running in place trick, and if you weren't already impressed enough, at the climax he jumps and claps his heels together in the roller skates like it's nothing. Incredible. Jumpin' Jive from 1943's Stormy Weather, performed by the Nicholas Brothers. The scene starts with a jazz number performed by Cab Calloway and his orchestra. Then 90 seconds in, the Nicholas Brothers jump up from a table in the audience and start dancing, and man, they are so athletic. Considered the best in the business by the best in the business, and they would know. The Nicholas Brothers were famous for combining tap with an acrobatic style known as flash dancing. They perform with tremendous energy, moving so fast it's hard to get a picture where they're not blurry, and though it sounds like they hit the floor with a lot of force, they get up so smoothly and easily and get so much air in their leaps. They jump from the floor to the podiums, that one saxophonist on the bottom right looking a little nervous, and then they dance on top of a piano before moving to a huge staircase for the show-stopping finale. One lands in a split, the other leapfrogs over and does the same again and again down the stairs. The way they spring right back up to do another split just blows me away, all while communicating an abundance of positivity. You've got to see the routine to believe it. Mambo from 1961's West Side Story, choreographed by Jerome Robbins to Leonard Bernstein's music. Rival gangs, the Jets and the Sharks, are gathered for a dance at the gym. The host tries to get the Americans and the Puerto Ricans to integrate. You dance with the person you're standing with when the music stops, but nobody wants to play by those rules, leading to an epic dance-off that really begins with 11 famous notes. Bam 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 bam. Mambo! There's mockery and sass, fantastic choreography, a piercing trumpet solo, amazing dance moves from Rita Moreno's Anita in that iconic lavender dress, paired with George Chakiris' Bernardo, versus acrobatic Russ Tamblin's Riff and his girlfriend Graciela, played by Gina Triconis, and great music that combines big band swing with Latin flair, all making this probably the best wore-through dance scene ever. The Bottle Dance from 1971's Fiddler on the Roof, music by Jerry Bach with Jerome Robbins' choreography from the stage production. In the middle of the Jewish wedding celebration, the crowd stills as one man places a wine bottle on his hat and starts carefully moving around. He's joined by another man, and then two more, and everyone watches in delight as these four men dance together with perfect balance. I love how everyone in the crowd is really into it, and if you've ever gotten to see this play live, you know the audience tends to hold its breath during this part. Like so many of these dances, it starts slow and then builds. There's great instrumentation with the klezmer clarinet solo and the tambourine, and smooth camera work in the big moment when the dancers kneel on the ground and move from side to side, then kick their legs out and slide forward in unison, dirt swirling in the air while those bottles amazingly stay in place. I'm pretty sure when I saw this the first time many moons ago, I tried to do this dance with, I don't know, a pillow on my head or something. It's a really good way to wear out the knees in your pants. And then everything erupts and they start dancing together, bringing an iconic musical moment to a joyful and very big finish. Tap Dance Down the Stairs from 1942's Yankee Doodle Dandy. James Cagney, most known for playing ruthless gangsters, sang and danced in this patriotic George M. Cohan biopic. His unique dancing style was imitative of Cohan's own stiff-legged moves. If you're not familiar with it, you should check out Cagney's crazy footwork in some of the musical numbers. But the best bit, I think, comes near the end, as an older Cohan is leaving the office of the president with whom he's shared his life story. He starts out just walking down the stairs of the White House, but the bounce in his step turns into an effortless tap dance, showing the world, yep, I still got it. Allegedly, Cagney came up with this idea himself just before they filmed the scene. The rest is history. 1. Finale from 1985's A Chorus Line. Yes, the Broadway choreography is better, but I don't feel I can talk musical dance numbers without giving a nod to the most famous kick line in musical theater history, so on the stage this is actually the curtain call, recognizing each performer individually before the individuals disappear into the group. The film does it a little differently, and I'm not crazy about some of the choices, the close-ups of performers and the mic picking out specific voices as they go by. Seems kind of like they missed the point, but taken on its own, it is a great spectacle. It takes place on a stage in front of a huge mirror, and there's a moment halfway through after the vocal counterpoint where the dancers approach the mirror and they're facing their reflections, but then it becomes another line of dancers who step forward to form a second row, and then there's a cut from this to this, and now the chorus line is 4 people deep. The music in this number, written by Marvin Hamlisch with tongue-twistery lyrics by Edward Klaban that I've never been able to get right no matter how hard I've tried, is my favorite of the entire musical, and when these performers dance together in unison in front of that mirror, it becomes a dizzying sea of shiny gold. The I'll Be Hard to Handle tap from 1935's Roberta, performed by Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. I had to have something from these two on this list. With 10 different films in which they were dance partners to choose from, it's hard to pick just one, and people can argue all day about which routine was their best, but having gone through a bunch, I think I've decided that while a couple of the more romantic ballroom sequences are contenders, it's this lively tap dance that's my favorite. It's far more casual, but not less technical. It feels impromptu even though it isn't. Part of that is the choreography, and part of it is the authentic sound where you can hear them both laughing while they dance. There are no cuts either, so it just feels like two playfully competitive dancers coming up with their moves on the spot and egging each other on. Rogers and Astaire were always known for their great on-screen chemistry, and this fun scene is no exception. Tango from 1948's On an Island with You, performed by Cyd Charisse and Ricardo Montalban. Admittedly, I'm not as familiar with this scene as others on this list, but I really wanted to include Ricardo Montalban in this video. He was another key player in the golden age of musicals at MGM, and I love watching him dance. His style is graceful, appealing, and always complimentary to his partner. In this case, that's Cyd Charisse, who you already know I like. This tango isn't severe in its movements, and I would argue it's more romantic than sensual, danced between characters who are becoming smitten with each other. It's not so much of a challenge in terms of footwork and physicality, but it's a beautiful number with a couple noteworthy lifts, and Charisse does some gorgeous spins in that gown. There's another dance number from this movie with these two, a more physically demanding, passive-aggressive role-play routine, and I've put a link to that dance in the description along with the links to all the other scenes I've mentioned. Duo Dance from 1985's White Nights. It's not a musical, but a dance movie featuring two of the best, Mikhail Baryshnikov, the greatest ballet dancer of our time, and Gregory Hines, the greatest tap and jazz dancer of our time. Here they danced together to Prove Me Wrong by David Pack, creating a scene that just blew the minds of dance fans everywhere when it came out. I may not be an expert, but I know ballet and tap are vastly different styles, requiring different discipline, making different demands of your muscles. Both men worked hard to learn the other's technique, with this amazing result. I've watched the scene over and over again, focusing on Baryshnikov, and then focusing on Hines, and then trying to watch them both at the same time. Every time I notice some new difference in how they use their muscles, place their limbs, how they land on their feet. They maintain their own approach and individuality, but combine styles to create a unique routine. Watch this scene to see two powerful, exceptional geniuses of their craft coming together. Shall We Dance from 1956's The King and I, performed by Deborah Kerr as Anna and Yul Brynner as the King of Siam. It's one of the most romantic, or most heated, depending on how you look at it, dances for two in the Rodgers and Hammerstein collection. The song itself is short and simple. The king observes closely as Anna sings and does a little whirl about the room before self-consciously catching herself. Soon the king insists she teach him the polka steps so they can do it together. Brynner is so great here, funny and imperious, his commanding presence attractive and not overbearing, and Kerr perfectly captures her character's growing confusion as she struggles to maintain her composure, which the king keeps making her lose. This reaches a peak when he insists on following proper European form by putting his arm around her waist. It's an exhilarating scene, thick with tension, that knows when to pause and when to turn the energy all the way up, and special mention should be made of that massive ball gown that they both have to maneuver. After all that jumping around that somehow makes the dance look both easy and exhausting, Anna's panting on the side and he's like, "Again!" So they do it again! The Landler from 1965's The Sound of Music, the most romantic dance in the Rodgers and Hammerstein collection, I think, performed by Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer. Maria is trying to teach younger son Kurt the Austrian folk dance when his father, Captain Von Trapp, cuts in to show him how it's done. The tune is actually a variation on The Lonely Goatherd in a different time signature, and the choreography is beautifully staged. Their dancing is graceful and soft and lovely to watch, But what really makes it is the subtext, what their dancing together means. For one thing, it's maybe a little bit scandalous for the governess from the convent to be dancing with the master of the house, even if, or maybe especially because, he's a widower, but more importantly, the emotions are starting to swirl. She's never been in love before and is struggling to recognize the feeling and to deal with it, especially where it seems verboten, and the captain is possibly just starting to understand that he's attracted to her. So there's a lot going on, and that's communicated through all these subtle little touches in the choreography and in their expressions, and that's something I don't think I really picked up on when I was younger, that I've come to appreciate over time with many rewatches. I'm sure that most of you are aware that Christopher Plummer passed away recently. I had already started working on this video when I found out, and it was shocking news. Yes, he was advanced in years, but he was still so active that you didn't realize that. He turned out a great performance just in 2019 in Knives Out. Without question, he will be missed by many, especially by Sound of Music fans who fell in love with his Captain Von Trapp over and over and over again. The Red Shoes Ballet from 1948's The Red Shoes, directed by Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger, arguably the dance movie to end all dance movies, which I've been saying I'd like to review for over 5 years now. This 15-and-a-half-minute ballet sequence is the play within the play, a ballet adapted from a Dark Hans Christian Andersen tale about a girl who gets a pair of ballet shoes that compel her to dance. It goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The color photography is magnificent. The sequence is characterized by beautiful sets and costumes and impressive special effects that blur the line between performance and reality. That's the most brilliant fantastical element, where we see Maura Shearer's character Vicky Page playing the lead dancer, but also playing herself, with the key figures in her life appearing briefly on stage, and the choreography referencing and foreshadowing her own torturous struggle to choose between art and life. Shearer, a professional ballerina making her film debut, is joined on stage by renowned ballet dancers Robert Helpman as the lover and Leonide Messine as the impish shoemaker. There is so much to take in here, and I could go on for much longer than I'm going to. It is the ideal marriage of technical excellence, aesthetic appeal, and thematic significance. Whenever the topic of superlative dance sequences comes up, this is the first one that comes to my mind. These are my personal favorite dance scenes, for now at least. I hope you enjoyed this list, and by all means go ahead and share your own picks in the comments below. I think I know what some of them are because they came up in the comments on the other video, and you have excellent taste, so I look forward to reading your feedback, and I will be back next week with another review. Thanks for watching.